Ooh, Nelly, that is fast.
2011 Wrangler with, what's the mileage on that window?
Well, it's showing 444,000. You want to give it a rev? Ooh. You certainly find just about every sort of car you can possibly imagine here, even stuff like this.
Oh my God!
There was an actual rabbit living under the hood.
This is your behind the scenes exclusive access to a dealer only private auction. And in this video, we're gonna find some diamonds in the rough, some hidden gems, Brendan.
Hey Tommy, how's it going?
Good, thanks for your access today, Brendan, because we couldn't do this without our dealer partner, Cars R Us.
Yeah, so my brother owns Cars R Us up in South Dakota, and he's the one that I work for as a registered buyer that gives us access to the dealer only auctions where they run thousands of cars every week. And so it's a lot of turnover, but a few interesting cars each week make it through.
Yeah, now you said they sold 1,200 cars over the course of, what, 3-4 hours last Thursday?
Yeah, it moves really fast if you were to come here. They run 6 lanes at the same time, so it's pretty action-packed 3-4 hours, that's for sure.
Now the idea behind this is open only to dealers, right? This is kind of like a wholesale auction. A member of the public can't come in here, but dealers will sell between themselves to then sell to public facing people on their lots.
Absolutely, and it's not just dealers too, it's banks that bring their repos here, and then if you ever donate a car, generally are going to end up here as well, so that way you get fair market value for the car.
Ever wonder what happens to a lot of the ex-rental cars?
Yep, they end up here as well.
They end up here, and we're going to start with this guy. This is actually a pretty cool find. Now this is a Dodge Challenger RT 5.7 Hemi. You can see it here on the side. But Brendan, this is actually a repo car, right?
Yeah, so this basically is a car that was sold to someone that couldn't make their payments or couldn't afford to make their payments, and so it was taken back by the bank.
Right, now this is a pretty good looking Challenger. The dealer actually puts a little sticker here on the window that tells you the VIN, the year, the mileage. This one's got 52,000 miles. And then we're actually here ahead of the auction, and dealers can come here and try the cars out a little bit, right? Check them out, see what the condition's like before they bid.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these guys are open 5 days a week, but the auction only runs 1 day. So yeah, you can see they modified the exhaust too on it.
Now let's talk about the cars that we typically see here, right? So of the cars that we find, a lot of them are going to be your typical generic, like here we've got a Nissan Murano coming down the strip, a Buick Rainier. You know, these are not premium exciting cars, so to speak. So we really have to kind of walk through here and find some of the hidden gems. Now, why would a dealer want to sell this at an auction for potentially a lower price than they could sell it to the public, right? This is a Buick Rainier. It looks to be in good shape. Why is it here, not on some dealer lot?
So you can see this one's got 307,000 miles, which means that a dealer may find that challenging to sell, right? You know, if you have a Toyota with 300,000 miles, it may not be, or maybe a little bit easier to sell, but a Buick with 300,000 miles, that's a little bit challenging, and I'm sure that the dealer paid close to nothing for this, and it's going to fetch also close to nothing going across the auction block.
So if you trade that Buick Rainier in on a brand new BMW at a brand new BMW dealer, they might not want to put that on the lot at all, right? So they're just going to send it here.
Yeah, in fact, I mean, I see some nice cars come from the big car franchise stores because they can be very picky about what they actually want to sell on their lot. So they'll take cars that have no problems at all that you would normally think would be on their lot and still run them through the auction.
Now this is quite the find, Brendan. This is, what year is this? This is a 2011 Wrangler with, what's the mileage on that window?
Well, it's showing 444,000 on the window, but I when I looked at this earlier, I realized that the speedometer is actually in kilometers because this is a Canadian vehicle, so it's actually more like 275,000 miles.
But check that out, Brendan. You're right. This came from Canada, 444,000 kilometers. What is that clicking noise?
That's got to be the blend door going bad inside the dash there.
Does it run?
Yeah,
it does. There goes that noise.
Yeah, these were the 3.8s are kind of the black sheep of the Jeep family, right, Tommy?
Yeah, right.
Just not a lot of people want these 3.8s, and they have a pretty bad reputation for oil consumption and reliability. But it's pretty interesting to see that this one actually did a lot of miles and is still running pretty well. 275,000 miles still runs. Yeah, so look, maybe we're not quite on the mark with these 3.8s. Maybe these are the hidden gem. Yeah, maybe. But well, I did read that like post 2009 on these. They kind of fixed a lot of the issues that these had. So maybe the later ones of these are the value of the Jeep world. I don't know.
This one also is a JK generation of Wrangler, and it's got JL front bumper.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That's
for
pretty
sure.
funny. Now, Brendan, if folks want to see more about this Jeep, head over to TFL Classics because you actually did a whole separate video on this.
Yeah, we did. We did a high mileage heroes buy or bust where we're looking at 3 different vehicles with super high miles, that one being one of them, and a few other surprises in there. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, check out TFL Classics.
Now, one thing which I think is interesting, Brendan, coming to this auction is a lot of the cars are not in pristine cleanliness condition.
Yeah.
You know, some of them have got some pretty nasty things inside and out.
Yeah, it kind of surprises me, honestly, when people come to trade in their cars to a dealer, they don't necessarily clean them first. And you'd think that they would, because that actually does add value. It adds value on the private market, but it'll add value at trade-in as well, because that makes it more valuable here at the auction.
Wow, okay, so I'm just kind of scanning around here. Lots of usual stuff. We got a Chevy Trax over there. We got this little Impreza. But is this what I think it is, Brendan? A Subaru with a blown head gasket?
No. This is the Audi S8 from 2009.
All right, I'm gonna start it up, see if it runs, and we'll back it up. We can take a closer look at this thing.
All right.
Look a little collapsed to you?
Yeah, I'm guessing that air suspension isn't working properly, Tommy.
All right, let's see if it runs at all. Putting the key in.
There you go.
Oh,
fires up.
Fired up.
Sounds nice. Let's see if I can give them a little sound of the exhaust. You want to give it a rev? Ooh. That, I don't know that that engine's very healthy, Tommy. It's quite smoky.
What's going on with it, Brendan?
Yeah, it's billowing smoke like a diesel out of the back.
Yeah, but I'm big mobbing right now.
Yeah. These are certainly cool cars, but those 4.2s aren't known for being very reliable, and I think the 5.2 V10s are also just equally as unreliable as the V8s that it was based on.
So look, this was probably over 100 grand when it was brand new, but I suspect this car is here because maybe someone sold it to a dealer, traded it in, because it has a lot of issues. I mean, you're right, Brendan, just looking at it here, that air suspension is not looking super healthy. On that side, it looks okay over here, actually, but maybe one of the struts is blown out.
Yeah.
And that smoke out of that engine bay.
That is, that's pretty bad.
Look at the interior, though. We got that carbon fiber across the dash. You got that little screen there that pops up in the center. The beautiful gray on black two-tone seats. This thing was loaded for 2009.
Yeah, you were someone important if you were buying this brand new, that's for sure.
So if you were to guess, Brendan, and we do this series at TFL Classics to buy or bust, what do you think this S8 is going to sell for on Thursday?
You know, I mean, with all these issues and that smoke billowing out the back, as a dealer, you kind of have to assume that you're going to need to do all new air suspension and major engine work. So I would say that, I mean, on a retail market, this is maybe worth 12 to 15. So you'd want to get this for like $5,000 to $6,000 to be able to fix it and sell it for a profit.
Interesting. All right, well, I'm going to put it back in its spot, and we're going to keep going to the next one, huh, Brendan?
Yeah, that sounds good. Maybe we can, maybe there's some older cars that we can find here. This lot's pretty big, Tommy. Maybe we should hop in one of these nice cars here and drive it around. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do this. I'm liking the look of this Cadillac DTS.
Yeah?
And we have acres of cars to explore. So we're going to hop in this thing, drive around, and maybe we can find some more hidden gems.
Yeah, let's do it.
This is kind of unusual. So most of the cars we've seen are like 2005 and newer. What is a rodeo doing here?
So this is part of the donate section, which means that somebody donated it to their local church or charity or some organization to help give money to that organization. And so what they'll do is they'll send it to the auction, and whatever it gets here at auction goes directly to that charity.
Okay, so that's how the charities typically sell their cars, is through an auction like Dealers Auto Auction in the Rockies.
Exactly.
Dude, this thing is pretty nice.
Yeah, I've actually always wanted one of these. I know these were also the Honda Pilot, or no, Passport. They were the Honda Passport, and I think they were even built in Indiana in the same plant. And the nice thing is I think this one is a little bit of a newer one. This is the first gen still, but it's a 93. And so this has the new, or the Isuzu 3.2, whereas the earlier versions had GM's 3.1, which is okay in reliability, but these 3.2s are pretty good. Plus, look at that, it's got a manual transmission as well as a selectable 4x4.
Wow, check this thing out, dude. Look how vintage 90s it is. Big, chunky buttons. I love that little sprayer there for the windshield. You got those wiper controls there. Man, when's the last time you saw an Isuzu anywhere, Brendan? Oh, there it goes.
Had a little trouble starting, but it fired up okay. It seems to run all right. I just love this old school feel. I mean, you got this flat dash that's super usable to be able to put your things in here and have them fly at you if you're in an accident. But man, there's nothing like an old school, old Japanese 4x4 in my opinion.
Manual windows, that 90s classic Japanese kind of plastic everywhere. Dude, this thing is rad. This is a cool car.
This is a cool car.
How many miles?
So this has got 125,000 miles, and you'd be surprised, this will probably fetch pretty decent money because we're here in Colorado and it's winter. So, you know, people are looking for 4x4s, people want to do some off-roading. So I think that this is going to fetch probably $5,000, $6,000.
You know, it's clearly a nice car. You know, we don't know why it was donated. Someone may have donated it because the owner died, right? They just don't want to deal with having to sell it.
Could be any number of reasons.
There's a lot of reasons. All right, Brendan, you're driving.
Yeah.
We'll keep cruising around the lot, see what we can find. Is that an ambulance on your right?
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah, we get everything here. I mean, you get ambulances, you get campers, trailers, you name it, it ends up here.
Not loving the look of that camper there, Brendan.
Yeah, that just, what did you say earlier? It's like, just screams bed bugs, right?
Yeah, that's the bed bug express right there.
There you go.
Now this is a weird one, Brendan. Look on the left here, we've got a Challenger RT. Is that a Scat Pack?
That is a Scat Pack, and I think these are actually really interesting, and I think they're a pretty good value. You can pick one of these up, and this is a 2022, so practically new. You can pick one of these up for like $40,000.
Yeah, this is a really nice car. Kind of surprising, only 7,000 miles on it. And this is even more surprising, Brendan. This is a Tundra? A brand new Tundra? What is this doing here, do you think?
Yeah, so you'd be surprised at how much cars can fetch here at the auction. And
wow.
Sometimes a lot of dealers will just bring a car here at the auction right when they get it as a fresh trade, just to see if they could at least get what they have into it out of it. And that way it's just like a quick flip for them, right? They don't have to worry about financing it or advertising it or taking pictures or cleaning it or doing anything. They can just take it as a trade and bring it straight here. There is such a thing as a Toyota tax, right? You have to pay a premium for the really nice cars here, because when you think about it this way, dealers can finance the cars that they are selling a lot of times, and so they can actually get more than you can out on the private market. So in a lot of instances, it may actually be cheaper to buy your car privately versus buying it here at the auction. But this, what it does is it brings convenience. A dealer can come here and in a day buy 10 cars and fill their lots, whereas that would take them a full week to do that buying cars privately.
Right, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, the 370Z, it's probably one of my favorites of the Zs, to be honest with you. I love the look of these.
Hood's a little open there, maybe a little jammed. But 45,000 miles on the Z, 2012. Let's see. Want to come over here, Cole? Let's see if it's the super desirable stick shift. Oh, it's an auto.
Yeah, it's an auto, but I mean, you're still talking a car that does 0 to 60 in like 4.5 seconds on these, Tommy, with that VQ engine. These are pretty cool with 332 horsepower.
Not too much like a urinal.
Yeah.
It's not too bad.
Is that your measure of cleanliness, is how much it smells like a urinal?
That's the standard, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all these cars zooming by us, these are people that are basically placing these cars for sale on Thursday, and then they circle them up to that white building over there. There's that little white building, and they drive every single one up over the block. You can see what that's like at TFL Classics, and then they sell them on the spot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now this is cool, Brendan. Look at these two.
Look at that, 2 Audi TTs right
Wow.
next to each other.
And
What's the luck of that, finding 2 of them in the same spot?
This one, 224,000 miles, but if I think I recognize this is the ultra rare baseball glove interior. which is super desirable in these TTs. This interior alone might be worth a few $1,000s to the right person because very few had them. This was such an expensive option back in the day.
I will say, for the price of entry on these, they feel really special on the inside. That's right. I think they're a pretty unique car. I mean, they are based off of the Golf platform, so they're pretty similar to the Golf, but you got a couple different variants. This one is like the entry level, although it's got the nice seats. It's only about 180 horsepower. But this one has all-wheel drive and 225 horsepower. And I think they just did that by adding a bigger turbo. But in reality, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. The only way to really tell the difference is if you look out back. One's got a single exhaust output and the other's got a dual exhaust output.
Yeah, twin exhaust on the red car, right? These are later ones, so they have the little spoilers because people were falling off the Autobahn on the early ones at speed. You can really tell when a car is loved based on the number of keys and the owner's manual. Yeah, still got the original booklets in here.
Wow,
it's pretty cool.
Nice.
This is a nice car, Brendan.
Well, and it looks like it was traded into our local Audi dealer as well, from what I'm seeing too. So my guess is maybe it's the same owner that brought both of these in and traded it in on like a brand new R8. What do you think?
I don't think two Audis with over 200,000 miles is going to get you R8 money, but I appreciate the optimism, Brendan. That really, truly is the spirit. Fiat 500, I've always loved these little cars. People make fun of me for liking them, but I think they're really cool.
You know, I've been trying to get one of these in the Abarth version for a while, and I don't know, they always seem to have something wrong with them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
You want to look at this, Cole? I loved this feature when it was new. I thought it was super rad having a white leather steering wheel in a car. Boy, that has not aged well.
No, it sure hasn't.
No,
well,
it's not looking
is that
good.
like a vinyl, or is that leather on the tops of the seats that's white as well?
Is that looking clean? Yeah, that looks better.
Yeah, that looks okay.
Yeah, that white steering wheel. What is that white liquid dripping down the driver's seat?
Oh God, I don't even want to guess, Tommy.
Well, I don't think it is what you think it is because you're not getting laid in a base model 500. So
that's true.
No stress about that. All right, there, I think it is an SRT8, Brendan.
Oh yes. Oh, and of course it's been modified. I think pretty much every single one of these I've ever seen is modified in some way.
One way or another, huh?
I don't know why they can't just leave it alone. It's a cool enough vehicle on its own.
Well, let's do this. SRT8 Grand Cherokee, like 460 horsepower. Brendan, why don't you hop behind me? Cole, you want to hop in the passenger seat and we'll show them what the test track looks like.
Yeah.
I think this might be a repo car.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I see a bank name on it, so somebody, although they put some money in modifications, they didn't make their monthly payments, unfortunately.
The smell in here is quite bold.
The whole car is pretty bold, Tommy. I mean, it's a lowered Grand Cherokee with modified exhaust and red seat accents.
It smells like something that I can't say because it would get demonetized, but it's a very strong aroma of green in here, Brendan.
So, would some call that the devil's lettuce?
The devil's lettuce, there you go. But we got this little acceleration run. This car was actually driven by someone, so it does have some heat in the engine. So we'll give it a little squirt. Are you ready?
Yep. Woo! Nelly! That is fast.
Runs pretty good, Brendan.
Oh, boy, I gotta get me one of these. That is fun.
Brendan, maybe you need this one. 51,000 miles, never been smoked in, allegedly. This is what you need, my friend.
Oh gosh, this would kind of blow my budget though. These are still fetching well over $30,000, I believe. I think even 40 for one that's got as low miles as this. You're essentially buying this almost sight unseen because you are not able to talk to the original owners. You're not even really able to talk to the dealer before you go and bid on it. So the only indication you have to be able to determine what's going on with this vehicle is just by you personally test driving it and looking at it. So you really need to know what you're doing and what you're looking at before you go and buy at an auction like this.
Right.
Because you can get stuck with some pretty basket case cars really quick.
What kind of cars typically seem to sell above market versus below market?
Toyotas almost always sell above market. In fact, a lot of times Toyotas here will sell for more than KBB Blue Book value. You know, they'll sell for maybe $1,000 or $2,000 less than like full retail here. And the cars that sell below value are, well, pretty much anything European with over 100,000 miles.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, especially later BMWs, Audis, Fiats. You know, they all tend to go for way less than what you would think they would.
Now this FedEx van has no engine in it
Yep.
at all. It's been pulled out.
Yeah, so this is part of the non-running section. So we have a whole section of vehicles that don't run, and they just basically do the auction based off of pictures. It's still live and in the lane, but it's a bit more of a risk, but
Like
also
this.
you get things a heck of a lot cheaper.
Like, I imagine this is probably gonna come across as a non-runner.
Yeah, no one's gonna drive this across the block. They don't want to lose the hood while they're driving it across, probably.
Well, let's keep going, Brendan. Let's see if we can find a couple more diamonds in the rough.
There is an interesting hybrid I saw over there, Tommy.
Yeah, let's take a peek.
So you may be able to see it off in the distance there. This is the Ford C-Max. And the Ford C-Max, I think, is a really interesting piece of history for Ford. It was the first time that they built a car that was just wholly designed to be a hybrid because they wanted to directly compete with the likes of the Prius.
And this is the energy version of the C-Max. This is a plug-in hybrid version. These went about 20 miles on a single charge.
Yep.
So you could go electricity only, and then you could switch to gasoline. We'll take this one for a quick spin.
You know, Priuses, believe it or not, still fetch a pretty good premium because they're a Toyota, right? And people think of them as the super reliable vehicles. So these kind of get overlooked, and you can get them for a lot less.
And they're good cars too. They are really space efficient. Lots and lots of space in here. Very comfortable. I've got a lot of room to kind of spread out. Decent tech for the era. And from what I understand, fairly reliable as well.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like driving an Escape.
Look at your European wipers too.
Yeah, like that. They come from the outsides, swiping into the center there.
All right, head down the test track, Brendan.
Let's see if it's quick. Oh, a little bit of wheel spin there.
That's
Oh
pretty
boy.
good.
It's got something rubbing against the wheel there. I don't know.
Yeah, that was not a good noise.
No.
It started clunking pretty good, about 25 miles an hour.
Yeah, and it feels like something is rubbing on this wheel specifically up here. So there may be maybe it's just a loose piece of like plastic cladding or something. I don't know.
Brendan, what's the story with all the white trucks that I see around here?
These are, again, just ex-commercial vehicles. So, you know, a truck like this guy over here was probably just owned by a company
A fleet kind of thing?
Exactly, that decided at one time, like, all right, we're going to sell off 4 of our vehicles from our fleet and replace them, and then they end up here.
They end up here, yeah.
it's
They
just
sell them as a lot.
It's a lot easier for a company to just literally hire a tow truck and have them bring the vehicles over here and drop them off, and then they get sold, and then they're done with them. Because businesses don't have time to like clean them up and take pictures and list them online and deal with flaky people that say they're going to show up and then don't show up to buy the vehicles.
Right.
It's just a much faster way and easier use of their time to just sell them here.
Just, yep, get them all done in one go. Set a reserve on them, because a lot of these vehicles do have a reserve, right, Brendan?
Yeah, absolutely. And so you'll see some cars that'll run here multiple weeks because they aren't meeting the reserve. But yeah,
Is this a S4 wagon, or is this just an A4?
I think it is an S4.
Wow, look at this. 07, 144,000 miles. It's got some body damage on it.
Oh yeah.
That is an S4. Look at that. It's got the suede interior.
I didn't know they made the S4 in an auto.
Yeah,
this
look at that.
generation.
Interesting. I think it's an S4. It's got the S4 mirror caps.
Yeah.
Yeah, S4, 5-door Avant. Oof, that suede is not looking too good.
It's also missing its entire front end, Tommy.
What do you mean?
It's missing the whole
Oh my
front
gosh.
bumper, the whole front grille. Yeah, this one's definitely been in an accident for sure.
But you can do some archaeology. Let's see what this person was into. I don't know what this is. I don't want to show that. What is this?
Oh, is that a scratcher?
National Forest Adventure Pass.
Oh, okay.
You wanted to profit? How about the back seat, Brendan?
I do like those Recaro seats. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, the bumper comes with the car.
So it's not missing, it just needs assembly.
Yeah, it needs some love needed. Where's the glove box door?
Where's the glove box? The entire glove box is missing.
What do you think? Is this going to be a runner?
I think it'll turn on.
You think so?
Yeah.
What do you want to bet? Look at that. It doesn't even have the real key. It's got the
I'll bet you
temporary
lunch.
key. You'll bet me lunch?
Oh no, it's got a dead battery, doesn't it?
Yeah, that was a bad bet you just made.
Oh man, now I owe you lunch.
No, you don't. No, I love this. This is really cool. These are like the premium kind of, they put all some of the fancier picks right at the front, right, Brendan?
Yeah, they call this the on-point section. So these are kind of the more desirable cars that they probably don't want dealers driving and hooning around, but they put them up here to kind of display them to show, you know, that you've got an interesting vehicle. And then some of them will even put stuff like this where, you know, this has got like the list of things that have been done to it, and it's got an original window sticker and everything.
Yeah, look at that. Someone really wants to sell this car. $1,800 in exhaust, $305. That's not great. But 18-inch wheels, upper and lower control arms, got Bilstein shocks, lowering springs. So someone put a lot of love into this car.
Yeah. Now, generally the cars up here don't have the keys in them, so we can't start it up. But at least you can always go and ask for the keys if you're really interested. But that's pretty cool, El Camino.
Yeah, we also have this LR4. Car of my love here. Got the roof rack on it.
Yeah, this one's been here a little while, Tommy. I'm not sure
what's going on with this
I'm not
guy?
sure what's going on with this. Maybe they either want too much for it or it's got some major issues. But
How about the bright yellow Stinger?
I have always wanted one of these Stingers. Maybe not one that's been modified, but I think they're really cool cars. And aren't they discontinuing them this year, Tommy?
Yeah, they're dead.
That's such a shame because it's such a cool car that Kia did.
And then this is a car I've actually owned. Worst car I've ever owned. 1976 was mine. SL. Bought it as a runner. Stopped running one day. And then it was deemed unfixable by various mechanics.
That's
or
crazy.
At least it would need more work to get it fixed than would ever be worth. But the beautiful car, just costly to maintain. And then we got, look at this, Brendan. 33,000 miles. We got the Coachman.
Yeah, your own personal something lab, right? Something that we can't say.
What
Yeah.
are you implying, Brendan?
You know, just a little Walter White recreation.
Now let's take a peek down here because we got some other cool stuff in the wings here, Brendan. Now these are a lot of the non-runners that we were talking about, right?
Yeah, so this section right here, these are still runners, but when you move one over to the right here, these are vehicles that aren't going to run across the auction block. They will just auction them off with pictures, and these start earlier, but I do kind of see something with its rear hood popped open back over here.
Is this Fiero,
It's
Brendan?
kind of interesting.
Wow.
I hope this isn't an 84.
Look
Let's
at
see what
this.
year it is. Oh, it's an 86. Yeah.
Wow, Fiero GT, this is the one you want.
Yeah, this has got the V6 in it. Look at that interior. That actually isn't, I mean, it's kind of messed with, but it's clean.
Yeah, someone has done some questionable mods maybe to the steering wheel there. Really actually, paint looks good. Looks like it's been sitting for an extremely long time.
Yeah, it does. And it's only got 48,000 miles sitting on the odometer. So
Pretty low mileage.
pretty low miles. This is probably a true barn find. It almost seems like.
But it is in the non-runner section, so something is wrong with it.
Yeah.
And it says small box, which means it needs a small jumper box to get going.
Exactly. Well, not only that, it means it needs a small jumper box to stay going.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so when they put small box on there, what you'll see is the cars will run across the block with a jumper box still attached to the battery pack because it can't even stay running. So that probably means it also needs an alternator, is my guess.
Now let's keep going here, Brendan. We'll look at some of these non-runners, right, Brendan?
How about a Mercedes E-Class, Tommy, with no rear window?
Yep, that's it's a bit of a shame there, Brendan. And you know, like a lot of these cars, we don't really know what's wrong with them, right?
Yeah, I mean, some of them you can make a pretty good educated guess, but other ones like this Lincoln here,
Look good.
it looks like a decent car, so you really have no idea until you start diving into it to find out exactly what's going on with it.
And these usually go for super cheap, right, Brendan?
Oh yeah, we're talking half of wholesale value generally for a non-runner, but it's a big risk because, again, dealers are bringing them here, and generally if you're a dealer, you're going to want to at least get it running before you bring it to the auction. So the fact that they gave up on it means that it's probably going to be a pretty big headache.
It's going to be, yeah, some problems. Here, we'll take a little meander before we finish this up, Brendan, see if there's anything cool in this section we haven't explored yet. I mean, the number of cars here is just overwhelming, right, dude?
Yeah, I mean, we're still 2 days before the auction. They already have over 700 cars here, and there's probably going to be at least another 200 to 300 that show up before the auction.
Now that is the find of the day, Brendan.
Oh my gosh.
Is that an Omni?
This looks like a true barn find.
Wow.
Look at all the grossness on it. Oh my God, that interior is nasty, Tommy.
This car, according to the license plate, Brendan, has been off the road since 1993.
Well, it looks like he used it to store his farm animals.
Well, I think the windows have been left down since 1993. It is an Omni, yeah, for sure. Look, you can see the remnants. I wasn't sure if it was a Plymouth Horizon, right? Was the other version?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, Tommy, even in good running condition, these things aren't worth much.
Look at that front end. Wow, so this car, I mean, it must have been towed here, right? Like a lot of the cars.
Of course, yeah. This thing looks like it hasn't run in a long, long time. But yeah, it's you certainly find just about every sort of car you can possibly imagine here, even stuff like this.
Oh my God!
There was an actual rabbit living under the hood.
This Omni comes with the rabbit.
You just disturbed its home. Oh boy, well, that's kind of an exhilarating way to end this.
You never know what to expect at Dealer's Auto Auction of the Rockies.
Oh man.
Woo! I got my heart going.
Oh man, that's fun.
Well,
All right.
guys, I think on that note, we should probably
Before we find any more live animals.
Man, what a thrill.
Yeah.
So, Brendan, thank you so much for your tour today, for letting us have access to this place.
Yeah, my pleasure.
And if you guys like the sell video, let me know. We'll keep going and come up with some other topics that we can do here. Any questions you have, be sure to leave them in the comments below.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you and love to hear what you think of the video. So thank you so much for watching.
We'll see you next time. Man, that got me going.